afternoon to Debbie Burrell and Cecilia, who are here representing the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I am also a proud graduate of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and I am proud to wear my gear today to support. We are blessed to have my special guest, Debbie Burrow, who is going to come and bring an alumni perspective. And she also held many hats at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff as an employee. What she doesn't know is why she is special to me. Debbie, when I was in college, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I was back there in 1989. And I remember Debbie, and Debbie, you don't even know this. Debbie, you were actually one of the first people that spoke to me on the campus. You were walking through the student union and you spoke and you said hello and you said, welcome to UAPB. And I would watch you at UAPB. You always carried yourself with grace. And for those of you guys who know Smokey Norfolk, Debbie Burrow did every talent show singing with Smokey, and he's a great friend of hers. But your grace and how you have carried yourself, and that's been since 1989. And you have carried yourself with that same grace and modesty. I'm blessed to call you, my prayer mentor, my Bible study mentor. But you've done so many amazing things, and how you have carried yourself and really have, to me, have embodied what UAPB really is, and and just who you are as a person. You're just a beautiful person. So there was no way I reached out to you first. There was a lot of people I could have reached out to, but I wanted you, Debbie, because I was from California. I didn't have any friends there. And I really wasn't for sure if I was going to stay. And you really, with that beautiful smile that you have, you were like, welcome to UAPB. And I was like, I have to go get the person that really, really changed my life just by being on that campus. So Debbie, that is why you are here. So I will give the floor to you so that you can share.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to fight the tears back. Really, um, all I know is I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save and help anybody. I really mean that. And if I can't help you, I am certainly not going to block or hurt you. I'm going to get out of your way. And so to God be the glory and thank you. I have to give all praises to God because I am just a vessel that he uses for his people. That's the bottom line. And so I guess I will start out saying to anyone watching this, that you have to have a foundation of someone that is of greater divinity than you. It's my God. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to choose. I hope you would, God, but that's going to be so necessary in this walk as you matriculate or move into your college career or wherever you decide you want to go. So this really threw me for a loop because I was coming in a whole different way. I was actually going to come in singing because singing was the gift that made room for me to go to college. Okay. So I entered the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff on a singing scholarship, a full ride. So let me just begin there. The University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff have the best choir in the land, and they are the Vesper Choir. And I was under the direction of Professor McGee. We called him Fesser, okay, lovingly Fesser. And Fesser is no longer with us, but he was my dad away from home. He was, uncle, grandpa, but he was also our professor. And we knew where to draw the line. And there was such a level of respect for him that he demanded. And so he would take the girls and he would talk with them without the men in the room. And he would really talk to us from a father's perspective, how important it was for you to carry yourself like a lady always. And he said this one thing, and I carry it to this day. I still share it. He said, you don't date people you don't plan to marry. Wow. You don't date people you don't plan to marry. So I became married as a sophomore in college. And I was the only one in the choir who was married. So when we would go on tours all over the United States, they now travel outside of the United States. Matter of fact, they went to Italy a couple of years ago and received standing ovations from the Pope and everyone from the Vatican, which is not a norm. So that's how awesome they are. And just to be a part of that, it was amazing. But I became married as a sophomore, and the level of respect that was expected of me, as well as that which was given to me by my professor, has been unmatched anywhere. But it also set the tone for who I have become in this life. I will never forget Professor McGee. I will always carry what he instilled in me and what he poured into me for the rest of my days. And I continue to pour that back into others. Who knew that my singing would then allow and afford me to become an educator? I never had the desire to become a singer, but I just knew that I wanted to go to college, and that was my foot in the door. So your gift will make room for you. That's first of all. Okay. So don't ever think that your talents or your gifts are not good enough for you to get your foot in the door somewhere, because they are. Um, I then went on to receive my master's degree, and I came back to the university to teach. And I taught in the Department of Sociology for 17 years. So after the 17-year, I crossed over to student affairs, and that's kind of unheard of when you're working on a college campus. But I went from academic affairs to student affairs, and I became the dean of student involvement and leadership, where I oversaw all of the organizations on the campus, including all of the 9 divine sororities. And fraternities. So just an array of opportunities which were afforded because I could sing. Because I could sing. It was my gift. And so as an alumni, I take so much pride having attended an HBCU, historically Black college and university, because it is very, very much a village. All of the professors and all of the staff serve as what I call in loco parentis, in place of a parent. Okay. And so, just like you, Ms. Lambert, my son and daughter, they absolutely hated the ties and connections of being a student on campus where their mother worked. But I will tell you that I would not, I wouldn't give it up for anything. Um, the faculty and staff were so loving. They were caring. If you had any type of challenges, they were there to assist you. And my parents, when they brought me to college, could certainly feel comfortable knowing that there were those who would, if there was a problem, call them, would reach out to them, okay, and connect with them for any reasons. So I would never, ever, ever give that up for anything. I don't have any regrets about attending an HBCU, and the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff have such a rich history. And for me to be a part of that is amazing. So let me just talk about a couple of those things. As Ms. Lambert mentioned, the Grammy Award winning Smokey Norfolk, he graduated from there. We had the first ever successful kidney transplant doctor to attend school there and graduate. Okay. And I could just name a myriad of professional sports players who have gone on to the pros and so forth. But the alumni is so strong, and it doesn't matter where you are in this nation. If there's an alumni there, which there are in all 50 states, you can be assured that all you have to do is make that one phone call, and we know what to do from there. Okay. So if Miss Lambert's son came back and she said, "Hey, my baby is coming," I already know what that means. Say no more. Okay. It's because of those ties and connections that makes the learning experience that much greater. And do trust me, students will have challenges. They will experience things that they have never experienced for the first time. And to be able to have someone connected to your child wherever they are, it's no greater blessing.
Absolutely, Debbie. I would definitely agree. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on, and Cecilia, you probably will touch on this too when it's up to you, when it's your time, is that, I always hear the comments, and I'm pretty sure you heard it. Um, that's a small city. It's
Mhm.
it's 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 too small to be going to. And I always share the story. Most HBCUs that I've visited are mostly in, except for just a few,
Yeah.
your Howards and those type of schools, and Spelman, of course, are mainly in small towns, but I think to me that gives it even that much more flavor because we have to rely on each other. I can remember staying in the dorm. Most people didn't have cars, it was like one or two people that had cars. And, I always share this story, and he knows this, is everyone knows Babu. Babu had the car, and he would take everybody wherever they needed to go. It was only so many people on campus that had cars, but we took care of one another.
Yeah.
If so, I can recall people who didn't have money on that, their parents couldn't afford their lunch card, they were waiting on financial aid. Hey, you take my card, you go in there, swipe. That's what we do. And I think that is the beauty of UAPB and the relationships. I can say the majority of my friends on Facebook are my UAPB people. We stay connected. We really try to help one another. It's so many people that I know who have children that are at UAPB that went to school with me. Not only that, but there's so many people that went to school with us that are trying to help other kids that don't have access to education get their students there. I always bring up Jerry Boo Langston. He always is in Chicago looking for students that need to go to college, and bringing them there. And I know Mona's from Milwaukee. We had a great Milwaukee contingent when I was there. So, and I think that's still a pipeline that has still been there. And so students are not just coming from Arkansas. I just definitely want to say that there are people from
Oh
Chicago,
no.
California, Nevada. One of Jordan's friends is actually playing football for UAPB right now. He's from Nevada. They come from all over, and I think that is what makes the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff such a beautiful place to attend, because it offers so much richness because people are from all over. I'll let you. I know, your time is limited. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the student organizations that we have on campus. And I know you were working with student government, and you actually also did some mentoring when I worked there. You brought your student leaders to the Judge Brown's court to really look at how the students, I mean the juveniles, but their students as well, to look at where we are really needing to do the work. And that is one thing that is really impressive, is that you just didn't have the leaders on campus, you had them involved in the community. And that is what I think is an exceptional thing that UAPB does, is that we are the community. Yeah, we're a little bit on the outskirt and on the end of Pine Bluff, but there's a lot of things that UAPB does. There's some amazing things that is going on. I know, actually, Fred Price is an amazing person that graduated from there. I know his mom. He's doing these big things with broadcasting, and just really showcasing the great things that are going on in Pine Bluff. And so I definitely wanted you to be able to share some of the things that you were able to do with your student leaders, and some projects that you worked on that could help students see that, hey, yeah, it's a small town, but we're involved in what's going on in the city.
Absolutely. So there were 120 organizations on the campus that were registered. That's a lot of students and a lot of organizations. And so I, being a member of one of the Divine Nine sororities and fraternities, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, believed wholeheartedly that students who are members of those organizations must display and show what the organizations are truly about. So I mandated that all of the fraternities and sororities did a certain amount of community service hours. There is absolutely no reason for there to be a college town and there to be lack. Okay. Lack in the community of those students who may need mentors, lack of students who do not see faces that look like theirs. Okay. Lack for students who are in need of assistance in any shape, form, or fashion. That's why we were built and why we were created. to reach back and to always pull our brother and our sister forward. So with those organizations, I wanted them to really hone in on the foundational principles of what community service really meant and what it looked like. And as Ms. Lambert stated, yes, we spent an insurmountable amount of time in the juvenile courts. And one of the things that probably really drew me there is not only was Judge Brown, one of my really good friends, and I thought just one of the greatest leaders here in this city. But I'm married to a man who just retired after 34 years in the prison systems. So coming out of my house and seeing former students that I knew mowing grass in my yard, and I couldn't even say hello to them, was so heartbreaking for me. Okay. And so if I could save any and every child that I could and rallied enough people, which we did have enough through the students, then I certainly was going to make sure that we did whatever we could do. I was at Jackson State University 1 year, and what I learned through their dean was that community service was a part of their graduation requirement. I thought, wow. Okay, we can do that at UAPB as well. Okay, but I wanted the fraternities and sororities to understand that when you leave this particular institution and you go into the real work world, that the meaning of what we do as servants becomes greater because the needs do not stop. Okay. And so I wanted all organizations to become involved, whether it was volunteering in nursing homes or within our schools, our public schools, or whether it was at the juvenile courts. It didn't matter. Find somewhere where you can service a need and let's serve. And so that was not just me, but that was the majority of the people who worked on the campus. We had an awesome chancellor who believed in such. Okay. He was a generational leader because his father was also, he was the first chancellor on our campus. And then years later, he would end up being the chancellor. And so knowing the history of our university and what they went through in order for myself, in order for Ms. Lambert and every student who came through those halls and walked those grounds, to be able to do that freely. It had such a powerful meaning and purpose for me. Okay. We had Dr. Martin Luther King to come to our campus. The only HBCU ever to have Dr. Martin Luther King as their commencement speaker. And the school was shut down for 2 years after he left because he was invited to our campus. All right. So this is how it looks. And this is how most HBCUs look. So we were originated as Branch Normal College. Okay. Branch because the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville is the major university and they were land grant funded. Okay. So if you know anything about land grants, you cannot build a school with land grant money or money that was given, okay, through Congress and be biased towards any race. So when the U of A at Fayetteville opened up, they had arguably 2 Black students, just enough so they could say that they did invite other races of students in. 76 years passed before another student was granted access into the university. You know why? Because we became the branch, which is how we got Branch Normal, okay? And normal meant normal mechanical meant that it was agriculture, okay? Because when we first were founded in the late 1800s, really you didn't get a degree. You either got a teacher certificate or you got a certificate of agriculture, okay? That was most Black institutions. And so because they built the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, or Branch Normal when it was started, okay, AM and N, they could then justify not inviting students back to the U of A Fayetteville just as they did most major universities who had branches of colleges under their name or umbrella. Okay. And so because Pine Bluff was a very thriving city, like Blacks own their own banks, they own their own business. Every business that they utilized, they were owners of those businesses. Then the university was put here, which is where most Blacks came from or from the surrounding areas. Okay. In 1972, the university became what it is today, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And there was, there were insurrections by African American people because they did not want the name changed to the U of A at Pine Bluff. They fought for what they loved, and that was the closeness of family ties at the university, and they did not want that taken away from them, being under the auspices of the white university. Okay. And so it has a very rich history, and you have to really know and understand the history behind those institutions and why people love them so much. They're small in stature for a reason and a purpose. Okay. They're small in stature because of the objectives of maintaining those close-knit relationships and ties, because of the objectives of making sure that we go back into our communities and pull our students back and continue to create successful students, okay, so that it will continue to flourish. All right. And so those relationships begin not just when you enter the college, but they begin. Have you ever heard that? And I always say this. So they're the Arkansas Razorbacks. I always say they raise little Razorbacks. We raise cubs to be lions. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when students become of age, then they already know it is a given. Oh, I'm going to the U of A at Pine Bluff. Okay. Yeah, that was the only school I ever really knew. I couldn't wait to get to UAPB. I absolutely couldn't wait because of the richness that I heard. I'll never forget the first day I walked on the campus. There were speakers on our campus, and we have had prolific speakers to come to our campus. But Julian Bond was on our campus the day that I went to school, the first day I went to school. And I know most of y'all probably don't even know who that is, but he was a really, really amazing Black activist. And for me to be in his presence, I thought, wow, this is the place I really want to be. And then I saw many. And then I got into a position where I was the one who could invite those people. So I invited our First Lady, Michelle Obama, to come and speak at our commencement. What an honor. What an honor. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. And I could go on and on. I brought Farrakhan to our campus. And he was amazing. I don't care what everybody else say about him, but he was amazing. Okay. And to see the army of supporters around him and how important Black culture was to him. Oh, it took me to another level. Okay. And so I will just go back to the fact that all of this came from the foundation and principles of me going to an HBCU, particularly the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And I'm going to say to all of you all on here, I truly love you. But if you did not have that experience, I really wish you could have. Truly, 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 I do. So when you hear Ms. Lambert brag about her experience at the U of A at Pine Bluff, you just got to understand it, because it is really, really something that we will talk about for the rest of our days.
Absolutely. And I know y'all that are close to me are like, where did Lambert come from? That's my maiden name.
I'm sorry.
It's very prolific on my social media page. So that's where the Lambert is coming from. Yes. And she would know me as Lambert from college. So that's where the Lambert came from. But W, as I said, you bring, and let me just stop and say, giving me some Black History Month facts about the UAPB, some things that I didn't even know, that was just like amazing. I was all in it like, wow, I was just shocked. But I really want to say thank you. And I meant what I really said in the beginning. I really truly mean what I said about you in the beginning. I really do love you more than you even could even imagine. And when I'm not even gonna lie, it's kind of funny. When you became my Facebook friend, I was like, Dovey is my friend. I'm like, it's just because
Everybody's gonna tell everybody about
I
somebody.
get it. I get it. But my point of what I want to say is, some mentorship. You became a mentor to me when you weren't even an actual mentor. And so that's what I really wanted to bring to the table, is that you don't have to be a direct mentor. It's how you live and what you showed at UAPB. And I knew her husband was at UAPB too. I know her husband as well. So it's the mentorship that you brought there that you continue to carry on, that you know really made me want to go to UAPB. You made UAPB seem like the best thing in the world to me, and I just think that is that could never be unstated, to me. So I definitely
Thank
wanted
you.
to say that.
Can I hone in on the mentorship real quick, and then I'm
Yes.
gonna hush? Okay. Mentorship is my life, and it's so important because I tagged on to someone as well, and I talked about Professor McGee, but there were others as well, and I still serve as a mentor to this day because I know the importance of it. Okay. Um, you talked about the students that came from Chicago and those that from Milwaukee as well. We had a huge Chicago base of
Mhm.
students on our campus, and when I say huge, I mean huge.
Mhm.
And so when those babies came on campus, I would um, I would pay attention to them. So they had a hard time adjusting to the environment, the change of environment. And I didn't understand why until I went to Chicago. Mm. And I learned that they walk the blocks. They walk a lot at night and all through the day. And they hang outside a lot. And we were creating all of these rules and regulations for
Mhm.
students and asking them to do something they had never done, number one, and really didn't understand why they were having to do it. So I began to mentor those students from Chicago and created an organization called OLOT, which stood for One Life at a Time. Okay. I would meet with those students once a week. I would assess their needs because I told them quitting was not an option. Okay. Whatever it is that you need, then you let me know. And you have to understand, in order for students to begin to really connect with you, they have to trust you. So the song, if you have never been on my block, you don't know you can't relate. That's very true. So I went to their blocks. Okay. I went to Chicago because I wanted to know how to better serve these students. And there were simple things when I met with them, uh, like having quarters to wash. So if students didn't have quarters to wash, they were not going to go to class, okay?
Mhm.
Because they didn't have clean clothes. And if they didn't go to class, they were going to fail. And if they failed, they were going to end up going back home.
Mhm.
So I went to the chancellor and I would say, I have babies that need wash money. I don't know if you know this, Ms. Hughes, but to this day, this is why the UFA at Pine Bluff have those cards that you can put money on, and they
Mhm.
can use them in the laundry rooms now.
Yep. I see them because my
Yes,
son was in the dorm. Mhm.
yes, because I said to the chancellor, we have to make it where it's accessible for all of our babies to wash and have clean clothes so that they can go to class. And I had to learn that in the culture of students from Chicago, being dirty was something serious. Okay.
Absolutely.
And so just getting in and really learning those students and getting into their world, it made all the world of difference. So I'm still working on a book that I will finish someday, entitled OLOT. And I track those students to this day. I still track them when I go to Chicago. I go and I meet with them and I have dinner. And those that can't meet me for dinner, I go to their block. They made a mistake when they showed me where they live. But not just them, but students from everywhere. We did the same with students that came to us from Washington, D.C. There was an alumni who sent about 40 students to us one year. And I knew they were students that had not been there before, nor were they students that I was familiar with from a geographical area. They had their own swag, as the kids say. Okay. And when I learned who they were, I got on a plane and I went to DC. I caught a bus and I walked the rest of the way to their school so that I could meet with their counselor who sent them there, because I just needed to know, how do I better serve your students so that they can be successful? That's mentorship. That's doing it over and over and over until they get it. Okay. That's not letting them go just because they didn't get it the first time. All right. We're charged with that as educators. And I have to always remind myself of the question, do you want your students to succeed? And the answer is always yes. I want my students to succeed, always. And if they fail, I failed them.
Oh, that's so powerful, W. And just before I had to share that, that was so amazing. And when we're talking about mentors, my two favorite teachers of all time were Dr. Moorhead. She was my sociology teacher, just loved her to death. Her son and my husband were actually classmates. So Dr. Moorhead really means the world to me. But Judge Brown was my teacher when he was Attorney Brown. Judge Brown was my criminal justice professor who ran for state representative, pulled me in to work on his campaign. When he became judge, he remembered that I was the top student in his class, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and gave me a job. I didn't even have to interview for that job. And to this day, in fact, I was texting him last night. To this day, he's still my mentor. I could call him for anything, and so that is what you were saying about mentorship. It definitely means the world to me. And, W, as I said, I really appreciate you being here. You're welcome to stay. And, if you can, I know you did say that you were squeezing me in. I definitely appreciate it. And, I definitely want to talk, have Cecilia get her time. And I definitely want to share some things about Cecilia that is really great. And I actually prepared how I was going to introduce you, Cecilia, is that, while we're definitely on here, and most of the people that are on this call happen to be Black, and we're talking about a historically Black college. And you happen to not look like us, but that makes you special, Cecilia, because I have watched you for a couple of years since the day I brought Jordan. I think it was early 2019 when I brought my son to look at UAPB, even though he had been on the campus. I was, it's different when you're going to be a student there. And I watched you and I was like, wow, she has really taken on this UAPB mentality, family. She may not look like me, but she is UAPB true and blue. I mean, when I tell you, I watch your social media and how you are promoting UAPB and, the things that they're doing, recruiting is doing some amazing things. I mean, you guys are a force to be reckoned with in the HBCU world. Every time I call you, I'm so appreciative. I always definitely have to give a shout out to Joshua Strong, because he really made my son want to go to UAPB, and he really is just an amazing person, and I just love him tremendously. But I'm going to give the floor to you now and let you, share, what you want to share with us today. And I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Cecilia.
Yeah, of course. And yes, that's a lot of people, when they see me, they kind of get confused. They're like, you're at a HBCU? Yes, I am. I went to UAPB from 2008 to 2012. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I had never heard of Arkansas before, but the softball coach recruited me. I was offered a full ride scholarship, and so, my dad always told me, and as Ms. Burrow said, your talents take you places. I've played softball since I was 3 years old, and that's what paid for my college education. And so I knew that was my goal from when I was a little girl. And so I had never heard of HBCUs. I didn't know what they were until I got here. And softball may have brought me here, but the small classroom size, that atmosphere of really, my professors knew me by name. A lot of my friends did not have that experience. They were in a classroom with a whole bunch of students. If they went, cool. If they didn't go, cool. If I didn't go, my professor was calling me. You know, my chemistry teacher, Dr. Laurent, I didn't go to class one day, and we would get in trouble by coach if we didn't go to class. But I was sick. And so Dr. Laurent called me. He's like, Ms. Cole, sorry you don't miss class. You know, I just wanted to check on you. And that's rare. You don't get that at a lot of schools. You know, they really care, and they want to make sure that you're succeeding and you're doing well. And for me, that's the important part about picking a college, about picking where you're going to continue your education, if you're wanting to go that route. And so for me, I came as a student. I've coached softball at the university. I worked in recruitment for 5 years. I worked as our scholarship coordinator. And then just recently, I transitioned over into the transfer coordinator position. And so I'm working with a different group of students now, but I like it because it's still direct contact with my students. I get to work with them when they come in, as they matriculate and graduate. And that's important to me because you don't want to come to college and get a whole bunch of debt and not graduate. The goal is to come in, say you did it, and get your certificate, your paper, your degree, and continue on. Can I share my screen? Is that available? Okay.
You can.
All right, cool. I think it's this one. I have some things to show y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. So this is one of our presentations that I have for my transfer students who are considering coming to UAPB, just to go over and to show you guys a little bit about our campus. And so this is about me. Like I said, I'm from Arizona. I attended UAPB. I'm involved in many things. As you can see in the middle picture, I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I pledged my senior year, and I have been active in that organization ever since. The Divine Nine sororities and fraternities are a big part of our campus. They impact our community, not just in Pine Bluff, outside of Pine Bluff, and all across the United States and internationally. So that's a big part of my college experience on top of softball. You can also see we have some pictures from like game days where we're getting ready to go to the football games. And then in the bottom right, you're going to see our Student Success Center, which is where I currently work. All those amazing people impact us greatly. Discussing for my students who are looking at transferring some of our admissions requirements. So if you're wanting to transfer, we do require a 2.0 GPA. If you have more than 30 credit hours, we're going to need your college transcript and a copy of your immunization records. If you have less than 30 credit hours, we'll need a copy of your official college transcript, your high school transcript. We're waiving ACT and SAT scores, so we will not need that. And then a copy of your shot records. Depending on how many credit hours you transfer in will determine your first academic advisor. That's a big part. And then, of course, I provided the link for everyone. You can apply, and then to schedule a tour, you would go through the Office of Recruitment. So these are some of the fun facts that we have about getting ready to transfer to UAPB. So we have over 35 majors. We are a Division I institution with 14 different sports teams. We have information about your credits. If you have more than 30 credit hours, where you would go, less than 30 credit hours, where you would go. We do also have a transfer student organization on our campus. We like our students to get involved. And so sometimes transfer students, you're trying to figure out where to go, what to do, who to talk to. People who've been there since their freshman year, they don't fully, they're already adjusted and you're trying to adjust. So our transfer student organization, which is called TSTU, is an opportunity for new transfer students and current transfer students who are already enrolled to go ahead and come together, talk about the different struggles that transfer students go through, and to just connect with the campus. We also have a career services department. Their job is going to be to assist you with internships, co-ops, and job placement after you graduate. For students who may have a child, we do have a daycare center on our campus. For students who are interested in elementary education or early child development, you'll have an opportunity to work hands-on in that area with the students that they have there. We also have a STEM program, so students who are interested in our STEM areas can apply. The application is on our website. if we have any students who are interested in ROTC, we have an ROTC program, which is Branch Army, and they offer scholarships, stipends, and our students who go through complete all of the proper training. When they graduate, they become officers, and so you're going to have a guaranteed job for at least 3 years after you graduate, and different opportunities that come with that. Now, we also have one of the best bands in the land, M4, which is Marching Musical Machine of the Mid-South, and they have auditions. So if you play an instrument, if you can dance, flag line, any of that, you can schedule your audition with Josh or with any of our band directors. Students with their ID are going to get in free to all of our sporting events. Currently with COVID, it's a little bit different, but we are waiting to see what they're going to do. Our football team is actually playing this spring, and then they'll turn around again and play in the fall. So we have some events coming up. As Ms. Burrow said, we have a lot of different student organizations to choose from as well. You know, students, when they get here, their concern is food, because I know mine was, because I like to eat. So we do have 2 main cafeterias, a Chick-fil-A, a Starbucks, and a Pizza Hut on our campus. So this is an important one. So for students who are looking to transfer, we have 2 different academic scholarships that you can apply for. The deadline is March 1st. That is less than a month away. So if you're interested, complete the scholarship application. The requirements are listed below so you can see them. We also have our ROAR scholarship. You can also utilize your FAFSA. And you guys aren't from Arkansas, but my Arkansas students can use the Arkansas Lottery Scholarship. We also allow students to stack their scholarships. We are a Division I school, so you can stack athletic or extracurricular like band or choir with an academic scholarship, combine that with your FAFSA, and there are different options and opportunities. We also have work study for our students who qualify through their FAFSA. Okay, so as I talked about a little bit earlier, T-Stu. These are some pictures of our students who are members, some of the different events we've had, activities that we do. They are on social media. During the summer, especially, well, kind of during the pandemic, they started what's called Write It Wednesday. And so we wanted to really focus on students' mental health during that time because that was hard. Students had to go home. It's different. You're not around your friends. You may not be going out a lot. So we created Write It Wednesday, which is a journaling prompt for our students. And so we have different topics for each week. You can see our executive board, our first executive board down in the bottom left, and then just different activities that we've done throughout the time. The paw print that you see, that was like a Pride Day that we did. And we have paw prints all outside of the Union and then up the street leading to our football stadium. This is our executive board currently. So beautiful people. They work really, really hard. I push them a lot, and that's okay because that's what they need, but they're great and they work really well. Okay. On our campus, we have different student support services, and TRIO is a very important one. So it's federally funded. It's for first-generation college students, low-income college students, and students with disabilities. They are located on our campus. They offer 24/7 student tutoring online. They also have in-person tutoring. They can assist you with books. Once you're in the program and you're an active member, they can assist you with financial balances. They have programs to help you look at graduate school or professional school, whatever you may want to go to after you complete your undergraduate degree. So they really take you in when you go and you sign up with them. If you meet the qualifications to get in, once you're in there, they really take you up under their wing. They want to make sure that you're coming in and being successful, because again, the goal when you come to college is not to come here and stay here forever, is to come here and to graduate. So this program, again, it's TRIO. They're great for all of our students that they work with. This is our contact information for the area that I work in. We're located in Caldwell Hall, which is like the one-stop shop. We have financial aid downstairs and some of your administrative offices upstairs. And so that's where we're located. We have a computer lab that's available for our students to utilize. And then that is our social media. So feel free to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. We post anything from scholarships that current students can apply for so that we may get sent. We post stuff about upcoming events, different webinars that we are offering, and different workshops that we offer. That is all. I'm going to stop sharing. Boom.
And I kind of want to jump in at a couple of things that I think are really important. We actually have a trio program on our campus, so I definitely will be sharing that with Nick Goodsell, who is who runs that program here on our campus, because I think it would be great to know that there's a connection that he could hand off his students. And also, you know, I didn't know you played softball. You know, one of the beautiful things about our school is we have a baseball and softball. So I definitely will be passing this video on to our athletic department, because I think I've always said it's a great opportunity to get some students out, and our programs are great. So it would be really nice if we could, you know, continue that Southwest region. You came from Phoenix, so to bring Las Vegas in there and get more students from the Vegas area, I think would be a really nice thing. I wanted to open it up to any of my co-workers. I see, Tommy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
All right, maybe I missed it, but we have a textbook assistance program. Do you guys have something similar to that, where you help the students with the textbooks or defray the cost of the textbooks?
So we have different departments on our campus. We do have book scholarships that students can apply for. It's first come, first serve. Then inside of our library, some of the departments will purchase a book that can stay in the library. Students can rent it for up to 2 hours at a time. And if it's not needed by another student, it can go past that. But that's something that they can utilize. Students can utilize their refund or their financial aid to purchase books. And some of our courses, they started this last year. When you pay for the course, you're paying for the supporting material. So all of that will be included in the cost of the class. Those are going to be the closest things that we have to that, besides renting from the bookstore.
And I think most colleges, I think, are going to, we even actually went to that here at CSN. I think, to me, that is the way to go. Just add it into the cost, you know. I think it just is a lot easier, because some students, they don't get their financial aid right in time, but at least if it's pending, they're able to still get their materials. You and I, Dovey, all of us know that, you know, it's hard to start class when you don't have the books and materials that you need. So definitely, I think that is something awesome that I think every college is looking into. Is there anybody else, Mona or Sunny or Joy, did you guys have anything you guys wanted to add?
I do.
No, that was going to be my question, what Tommy had regarding the book loan, how they're working theirs, to see if we need, you know, can make some of their, whatever ideas they have to implement for us. But it looked like it's the same method.
Can I chime in, please? So when I served as the dean, what I did, because so much money comes in for from students for student activities, I started looking at their needs versus things that were their leisurely things. So we took a certain amount of money and set it aside to purchase books for students, and it would pretty much be on a first come, first served basis. But it did help tremendously. So what we did was purchase those books. The students could check them out for the semester, and they were responsible for returning them at the end of the semester. Now, if they didn't return them, then they would have to pay for the books, and then a flag went against their account until they made good on the purchase. And so it just opened up a whole new avenue. I also purchased books and put sets in the library for students to be able to go and make copies of those books. It's just a suggestion, yeah.
And I think our program offers a textbook assistance program, and it's like a loaner program. So that's why we're asking that question, because we know how important, especially for us. We're a community college, so you know, it's really hard. You know, most of our students, are using financial aid just like a UAPB to be able to survive. So we try to offer as many services that we have that we can help students. Mona?
I have actually a question and a statement. For Cecilia, you came from Arizona. How did you hear about UAPB? And you probably said this, but how did you even hear about this university?
Yeah, so I heard about them through my recruiting process. So with softball, the coach had reached out to me. I had a couple SWAC schools, actually, looking back now. I didn't really know much about the different conferences. The big thing for me was I wanted to go D1, I wanted to go out of state, and I wanted to start as a freshman. I didn't care if I had to take a senior spot. I'm competitive when it comes to sports. That was my goal. And coach told me, he was a new coach, he was recruiting, and I pitched and I played outfield and I hit. And so he told me we needed pitchers. That's what he wanted me to come in as. I came on a visit late. And so after I came on a visit, told my dad, I was like, that's where I'm going. And my dad was like, that's really, really far because I'm a daddy's girl. And so he had always gone to my games. Him and my mom tried to get to my games. And so for me to go that far, I think it was hard for him to adjust because I'm baby girl. I'm the baby. I'm the only athlete, and my two older brothers, they stayed in Arizona. They didn't go far. One went to Arizona State, one went to Northern Arizona, and so I, of course, had to be the stubborn one. I'm very independent, and so I was like, nope, I'm going. My dad was like, you've never, like, Arkansas. We've never thought of Arkansas. And I was like, yep, it's going to be different. And that's where, the small town, a lot of our students who come from a big city, it is an adjustment. I'm not going to say it's not, because it definitely is. But I like it because it makes you focus on your classwork. You don't have those distractions that you may have in a big city. Now, Memphis is 2.5 hours away. Little Rock is 45 minutes. Dallas is 5 hours. New Orleans is 6 hours. If you want to go somewhere that has a big city atmosphere, you can get there. That's not a problem. But for me, being a small town, having, coach my teammates and that support system, that was really something that I was able to benefit from.
Thank you. And then, so having just a follow-up question to that, with you transferring from Arizona to UAPB, what could you tell students who, like, what could they look forward to when they do transfer? And this is also for Ms. Burrow too, because I'm so happy that you shared that those students who are like in Chicago, the struggles that they had. What could a student, if they were to look to transfer to your university, what might be some of their challenges or some things that they have to get used to? I know you said it's a small town, but what some things like they really would have to get used to?
Well, I'd like to jump in here because I had a son that left Vegas that went to UAPB. One of the, Vegas, we're 24/7. You can get whatever you want 24/7. Pop Bluff is not where you can get, everything's not open 24/7. So, my son would call me, it's like, Mama, there's no place to get anything to eat, it's closed. So that was a big thing for him, because you could go at any time of the night to get anything, here. And now it's even worse post COVID, because if we not open 24 hours and everything, things are different. And I've actually been to Arkansas since COVID has hit, so it's definitely a big adjustment there. But I will say this, because Vegas in particular, the high schools, we have so many high schools. The size of the schools are still kind of a smaller size. So I believe that makes it an easier adjustment to get into UAPB. Most people here may have not ever been to the South, so being in the South is a little bit different, and that's a big adjustment for a lot of people, is that the South it's a whole different ball game from the city. But I think what as Dovey and Cecilia both said, when you have people from Chicago, Milwaukee, DC, California, there's still city life on the campus because the people are coming from the city. It's just that they're now adjusting into a much smaller place. But I can definitely say, even when my son was there are always activities that were on campus. He said, okay, Mom, I gotta go. We have an ice cream social going on. Mom, I gotta go. They're doing something in the student union. So they made sure that even though you're in a small town, especially for those new students that were coming in, they were doing things constantly. I remember there was some event you guys had in the fine arts building in the room, and I seen the people swaying back and forth, and I'm like, what is that? My son sent me the video, and I was like, so it definitely is different. But my son, even though he had lived there, and his friend is there now, and his friend says, it is different coming from Vegas, but he said they do try to make sure that there's something for us to do to keep it constructive, to keep it fun. They know that the people are from different things. Because I remember my son said that they had a house night for all the people that come from Chicago that like house music, and so they do make it so it's that the students do feel like there's a sense of home, and that goes to me also with the part where we were talking about alumni, is that our alumni chapters are all over the country that do reach back to check on their students that they send, because that is a big thing. Let me check on my students, and I know, because when my son went there, and his friend Jordan, his name is Jordan too, went there, the Las Vegas alumni chapter were so excited to have students. They hadn't had students in years from Vegas. They were so excited. They started collecting scholarship money to help them. Like, oh, here, they need this, they need this, they need this. They were so excited. And I know now imagine they were active, but they didn't have a student there. But there are like Dallas, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, and other areas. I know Northern California, because Taffy and Amudu, who are great friends of mine, they're really big up there. Yes.
They're so sweet. I used to recruit the Northern California area, and anytime that I would go up there, both of them, Cece, what do you need? Cece, how can we help? Cece, do you need help getting into a school? And so that's definitely, our alumni are amazing. They want kids to come to UAPB. They want to support them. They want to help, connect and make sure that the students have a smooth transition. And so that's definitely something that's super important. Now, I will reiterate, food places closing early, that was so hard for me, because back home we have Filiberto's. You can go 24/7 and get a burrito. Like, it doesn't matter when you go. And so when I got here and Sonic closes at 8, I was like, what? Like, that doesn't even, make sense. But it's just an adjustment. You just know that if you're hungry, or you think you're going to be hungry, go earlier, get food, and make sure that you have something for yourself. There are places that stay open a little bit later, and you can always go to Walmart to get something. But just adjusting to your options is definitely going to be something. Adjusting to, for me, a big one, and it was so hard. In Phoenix, we don't really talk to people. Like, we're not huggers. We don't talk to people.
In the South.
Yeah, everybody, hey, how you doing? I don't know you. Like, but you're talking to me like people hug. Like, I can't tell you. It's easier now, but when I first got here and my mom came to visit, and one of my friends, my mom had come to the JBJ cafeteria, and I was showing her my room or whatever. One of my friends, Leon Suggs, he is hilarious. As soon as I was like, this is my mom, he got up, gave her a hug. My mom was like, oh, we're hugging. Like, it's a Southern hospitality is a very real thing. They're going to talk to you. You just have to accept that, and that you're probably going to get hugged.
So yes, I'll chime in there. That is one of the big differences here, because people are so hospitable. And I mean, Southern hospitality is very, very real. Yes, we speak. Yes, we hug. Yes, we touch. We do all those things. And what I would say in reference to the question you asked, Ms. Mona, is that students, they'll have to really mentally think about those adjustments and changes. Again, mentorship is everything. Number 2, I admonish and always advise students to become a part of the university family. Get into organizations. They even have organizations that rep their cities. Okay, so they may have a Chicago club, they may have a Vegas club, they may have a Milwaukee club on the campus. So I advise all students to become a part of those organizations when they step on campus. Become a part of the Student Government Association. Allow your voices to be heard. That's how some of the changes take place. place. And so if they want, extended hours for food, those are the places that you go and you become a part of those so that your voice can be heard and then go up the chain. So there are a myriad of things that they can do when they come on campus. If they don't try, of course, then no, they're never going to get adjusted to it. But I tell every student, try before you deny it. Try it before you deny it, and become a part of the campus and the university family.
Well, thank you.
Before I close,
Wait, can I just add one more thing? Cecilia, Miss Cecilia, and Miss W. Let me call you Miss W. I like that name.
Absolutely. No problem.
I wanted to thank you both. You guys made me a believer for UAPB. Now I can say it right. I just wanted to thank you so much for the information. And two things that stick with me, what you said, Miss W, is your gift will make room for you. And do you want your students to succeed? And just from this conversation today, I'm a believer that UAPB definitely wants their students to succeed just by the level of passion and compassion that you have for your students. You don't even call them students, you call them your babies. So I know that that all of the UAPB students are taken very well care of. So thank you so much for your time today with sharing this information with us. And we'll definitely look forward to getting this to our students. So
thank you. I was honored. Please know that I was absolutely honored. And I would not dare get off of this this live without saying that even the chancellor is very interactive in engaging with students.
Nice.
Yes. So when you see your chancellor walking across the campus and picking up paper or is involved in the activities or no student's name, that's an education with a personal touch.
Absolutely. It's about your passion, not that paper. Miss W, you were gonna start us off with singing, so I was getting excited. I was like, yes, that's what I thought you was about to do, was sing.
So. So I'm going to sing this song that I carry in my heart. It was my audition song when I made the choir, and which afforded me the opportunity to go to college. So it will forever be one of my heart songs. Okay. You are everything, my love, my joy, my song, and you're my peace all day long. And everything is you. You're the air I breathe, the song I sing. Oh, my Lord, you are everything.
All right, amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And as I close, I really appreciate you representing. I definitely was so glad when Cecilia chose the first week because I wanted to kick it off with UAPB. No doubt. When I saw that, I was like, yes. So I definitely am so glad to be able to do that. And I also wanted to share one more thing too that always I think is really important before we close out as we talk about UAPB. UAPB is on the cutting edge of doing some amazing things in the city right now. I make sure to follow what is going on with UAP with Go Forward Pine Bluff, which are being run by University of Arkansas Pine Bluff graduates, and a lot of the UAPB graduates are really taking some initiative to really, cultivate the college campus into the city and doing great things in Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff is on the cutting edge of really some major reconstructing and major things going on downtown, which means jobs. And I definitely could not leave as we are career and serve. While we are definitely transfer people, our main thing also is career services. And one of the things that we always are talking about is where do you go for jobs? What are the opportunities? And Pine Bluff is on the cutting edge right now of having some amazing job opportunities. And I could not go on without talking about Miss Tracy in the Career Services Department over there, because Tracy is a great friend of mine, and she does a great job in making sure students have co-op opportunities to be able to find jobs in the community. I have a lot of friends whose kids have graduated from UAPB that had great co-op opportunities that ended up being great federal jobs when they graduated. One of my friends, Vera Eli, you know, Debbie, that, you know, when Morgan graduated, Morgan had a $50,000 job, stayed on the job, I think 3 months, and they promoted her and gave her a supervisory job that ended up clocking over $75,000. So I definitely did not want me to not lead. I didn't want to leave this meeting not talking about what the other things that UAPB brings to the table with making sure that the students graduate and are able to go into a job. So as I close today, I love you, W. You just don't know. Cecilia, you're like my little sister now. And, you know, as we keep moving forward, I'm always going to call UAPB into the table because I think there's so many great things that are offered. You always hear about, and we have Southern Fisk and Grambling, which are where my nieces are. So that's why I invited them. But I don't think University of Arkansas Pine Bluff gets enough traction to be able to share the great things that we've done at that campus and the great people that have graduated from there. And so again, I want to just say thank you so much. And Cecilia, please send me over that that PowerPoint, and I look forward to doing this again. And I hope you guys all have a blessed day.
Yes,
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you for having us.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.